Awesome. Looks like we are live. Happy, I guess it's Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. If you're watching us live, happy Monday through Monday. If you're watching a replay on this, as the time of this record, it's Monday, December 3rd, and I cannot believe that we have, I'm trying to do math quickly in my head, 28 days left in this year. It's nuts to think that we are 4 weeks left in 2018. I feel like I was just talking with you all, talking about how futuristic 2018 seemed, how far off it seemed, and what is that? God, that means we're sub 400 days of 2020. It just doesn't even seem like it's fathomable, yet here we are. So go ahead and say hello. We'll give everybody a moment to log in. Say hello, where you're logging in from, and what was the highlight of your weekend? What's been the highlight of your weekend? And we'll give everybody a moment to jump in and before we jump into today's topic, and I'll share with you about my weekend. I don't know. Last week, it was one of those weeks where I haven't felt worn down. I'm usually pretty go, and I felt really worn down, and my sleep was off, and my sleep is never off. I'm a fantastic sleeper, but I usually sleep right about, I would say 6 hours and 15 to 6.5, 6:40 hours a night. That's about what my average is. And this last week I was averaging about 5 hours and 10 minutes, 5:15, but it wasn't very good quality sleep. It was really restless between 1:45 and 2:45 in the morning, which even for me, that's early. I usually get up about 3:30, between 3:30 and 4. So I was a little off, and I really wanted to have a weekend where I didn't do a lot. So I worked for only a couple hours both mornings, did a light workout on Saturday, and I had some other obligations, but I just really kind of vegged out. I started watching The Haunting at Hill House, or The Hill House Haunting, or something like that on Netflix. Have any of you seen that? It was interesting. It was all right. It was mildly entertaining. It wasn't very scary. Everybody kept saying how scary it was, but I think I've just seen so many of those types of shows now. It's pretty predictable. But that was my weekend. So what about you? Hey, Linda, good to see you on here. It seems like it's been forever. Charity, what's up, Charity in Highland? Weekend sucked. Why'd your weekend suck? Ran with my runnings. That's awesome. Hey, Lisa, good to see you on here. So let's dive into today's topic, which is about becoming a story creator versus a storyteller. I was talking with a client earlier today, and that's where the idea for this came up. And I absolutely love my clients because they will entertain some bizarre conversations sometimes, and they know that it comes from a loving place, and there's always a greater reason, a greater purpose with it. So they put a lot of trust in me to have some of these bizarre things make sense. And then every now and then, in the midst of when we're running through coaching together, there's something that might come up in the discussion that seems really like an important thing to share outwards. And when I was meeting with my client earlier today, we were talking, and we started to get in the subject of the difference between being a talker, or how do we say it? When you're saying you can either tell a good story. Oh, this is what it was. See, I need to write these things down so I don't forget what I said. You can either tell a good story, or you can take action to create a great one. I'm going to say that again. You can either tell a good story, or you can take action to create a great one, but you can't do both. I'll say that one more time because it's important, and I encourage you all to write it down. You can either tell a good story, or you can take action to create a great one, but you can't do both. Oftentimes in life, we will become so stories. Let me back up. Stories are really important. Stories is how we've passed down history. It's how we know origins of humans. It's how we communicate with each other. It's often how we form connection. We have stories about our origin, our place in time, about how ancient people used to be. We have our history, our culture is often passed down in the form of stories. Family traditions around holidays and whatnot, many of that is shared and passed on through story. Stories how we often go through and experience emotions. I was watching that Hill House Haunting or whatever it was this weekend, and it's supposed to be, it tells scary stories, but also tells stories of dysfunctional families and all these things in an attempt to elicit certain emotional responses to take us on a journey. And in life, storytelling can be really powerful, but it can also become extremely detrimental. Because on the other side of storytelling, we can become really good and really strong and well versed at telling ourselves and the external world stories about why we can't, about why life is the way it is, about why things turn out, about why they sucked, about why it's not fair, why we're, so on and so forth. You all know the drill. And when we come into and we fall into that trap, we get into trouble really quick. Because when we become so consumed by our story, it alters what our reality is. What I mean by that is when we start to tell ourselves a story, let's say my hand is the story, right? And we might start off by reading here and say, my story is the reason why I'm not in an amazing relationship. And the more I read and subscribe to that story, the more present it becomes. And the more present it becomes, the more it consumes my focus and my field of vision, where pretty soon I used to have this whole ability to look around and see life beyond it. But now all I can see is this right here, because it's become my whole story. See, those of us who, whether we achieve what we want in life or we don't, and we settle for less than that, it's just a story. It's that. If we're not getting the results we want in life, we're telling ourselves story after story after story about why things are the way they are. Something horrible happened. Somebody died. We got screwed over in a business deal. We lost the parent lottery at birth. Whatever it is. There's lots of, and this isn't to dismiss the painfulness and the hardship that people go through. My heart certainly goes out through those of us who have been through painful things. I've certainly been through mine. But what it is to say is, remember, all those things happen in moments. And whether we choose to allow ourselves to continue on with those moments or not, it's up to us. I wonder why it keeps doing that for mine. Sorry, my live one for my personal one just shut off again. It did it last time too. So whether we choose to allow ourselves to do that or not, it's up to us. Let me just get this back. And ultimately, what we decide, what we tell ourselves, the dialogue we share and whatnot, that's going to become our narrative. That's going to become the story of our life, or the why things are the way they are. Storytelling, especially storytelling that elicits fear, storytelling that elicits hardship, or why things are the way they are, it's a big business. And storytelling about why we can or how it's possible, it's one of the greatest gifts we can ever give ourselves. But many of us will not tell ourselves that story because we get so consumed with the story about why things are the way they are. I can't because of this, I can't because of that. Now, here's the difference between becoming a storyteller and a story creator. A storyteller is somebody who, if I'm picking up a book, this book's already been written. And so all I can do with this book is I can retell the stories. I can read them. I can interpret them, but I can't change them per se, because the book's already been written. The story's already been written. And if we begin to adopt the mindset and accept that our story's already been written and that's it, there's nothing that we can change, we'll forever subject ourselves to be a storyteller. And in that place, we're powerless to do anything to change, right? To play with the metaphor here, I'm powerless to do anything to change the narrative of this book. It's been established. Now, if I become a story creator, if we shift our mentality to where we're story creators, that's where we hold the pen. And that's where we can say at any given time and acknowledge and recognize that we have the power to do something, to change, to shift. If we don't like how our relationship's going, we can change and write a new chapter. We can create a new chapter because we're the story creator. If we don't like our financial situation, we can do something to change it. If we don't like our employment situation, we can do something to change it. If we don't like our health situation, we can be proactive and do something to change it. Somebody was asking me, or I was talking with a client of mine earlier about when I was a personal trainer, And people would talk about doing personal training and exercising. And I'd ask them, why aren't you doing that? One of the most common things people would respond with is, I don't have time. And I got tired of debating with people about time. 24 hours people are able to work because everybody always have their stories or excuses by why they couldn't. And I just got really good at looking at them and saying, okay, well, do you have time for a heart attack? Do you have time to die? Do you have time to be okay with somebody else being present for your kids growing up? Do you have enough time to let somebody else take care of your kids because you won't be around? And I was telling my client, I would say that to them because that was the reality, right? They were telling me, they had come to me because they wanted to work on their health, but they weren't willing to make the time for themselves because they had a story that went something like, I don't have enough time because I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. But the reality is what they were really after is they wanted to be around, they wanted to have better health. The reason they wanted to have better health is because they wanted to be present for their children to grow up. They wanted to be able to enjoy more quality of life, but they weren't evaluating that time because they had gotten so much in the storyteller mindset that they felt powerless. They felt like they weren't able to do anything to change it. But when we shifted to a story creator mindset and said, hey, listen, recognize here and now that you have the ability to shift and you have the ability to do something else, the light switch went on and it became empowering. See, if you relegate yourself to only being a storyteller, you're going to find yourself always settling. And when we settle in life, that often leaves us feeling unfulfilled, unhappy, and just missing out on all the greatness that life could. It's kind of the expression, we settle for good when we could have gone for great. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what one wants, absolutely. But if someone feels like there's something more and they want more out of life, they want more, they want a better relationship, they want a better career, they want to earn more money, they want to have a nicer house, they want to have better health, they want more, which is awesome, then we have to make the shift from being a storyteller to a story creator. Because a creator holds the pen, and the creator recognizes that pages are just pages. We can write them out, and at any given time, we can turn over to a blank page. Or we can just go and get more. Order on Amazon, and they'll deliver those pages right to your doorstep. And when you're the story creator, you might have something here that you read. You might have a story here that you read before. But you recognize that you have the power to put it down. And what happens when you put it down is all of a sudden what you used to have to focus on here, and now creates all this space for you to focus on. And in this space, you can fix your focus, and you can look towards and for whatever it is you want. But you can't do that when you're a storyteller. Because when you're stuck in the storyteller mentality, all you're going to often see is this. It's going to keep coming back again and again. If you want to radically transform your life, become a story creator. We are sitting here on the precipice of a new year. 2019 is less than 28 days away. Perhaps that could be your mantra going into 2019. From this moment on, I'm committed to being a story creator rather than a storyteller. I encourage you to choose to live that way. It'll radically transform your life. So that's what I have for you all today. A story creator versus a storyteller. Anybody have questions about this? I have about 5 minutes for questions. Go ahead and start typing your questions out. I'll be happy to answer them. Has this been helpful? Yes, no? And then also, if you want to dive a little deeper in this, if you need some help with making the mindset shift, just shoot me a message, let me know. I'll be happy to reach out to you, and we can talk a little bit more one-on-one on this and how we can do that. But any questions about this? Stacy, is that yes, it was helpful, or yes, you have a question? Then it makes sense. Good, fantastic. Any questions at all? No? Alrighty then. That's what I have for you all today. So I wish you all a very amazing, wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, noon, or night, I wish you a very, very amazing, amazing moment that you're in right now. Sending lots of love your way. And remember, carpe diem, seize the day, seize the moment, and make the most of it, because this is the only chance you have to experience and live this moment. So in this moment, I encourage each and every one of you, if I haven't encouraged you enough already, because I just realized that word's been popping up quite a bit, I encourage you to switch from being a storyteller to a story creator. And if you already are a story creator, I encourage you to up your game and become like a Stephen King-esque story creator. He tells some good ones. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. We'll be back here around the same time tomorrow. Till then, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.